How's it going, everybody? It is Mr. Hardy coming to you pre-recorded from my kitchen. Little odd, I know, but when we haven't been to school in over 3 weeks, you got to do some teaching from your kitchen, okay? So here you go. I'll give you a second to examine what my kitchen looks like, because I know you're all very nosy and want to know everything about my life. You can see my plant, you see my coffee maker, you can see my microwave, and oh, I keep my bread in this thing. Okay, now let's focus on what we really came here for. Estimation. No, that's way more exciting than my kitchen. But estimation is a very important skill to have that you will use all throughout your daily life. Estimation is when you just need to get around the right number. It's not precise. It's basically a mathematical guess. And that's a very important skill to have for when you don't need to know an exact number. An example that I always give my students when I'm teaching rounding and estimation is if Mr. Dixon walks into the room and he says, "Quick, Mr. Hardy, right now," without doing any type of working it out and stacking and attacking, about how many students are in third grade. Well, I know that all of us third grade teachers have about 25 students. 25 plus 25 plus 25 plus 25 is 100. So I would say, "Mr. Dixon, there is about 100 students in third grade." Now, notice that I'm saying that word about. About. It's not precise. If I say the word about, or you include the word about in your answer, then that lets whoever's looking at or whoever you're speaking to, whoever you're working with, know that this is an estimation. It's not an exact number. Now, let's transition to this notebook here and work a problem out. We have arrived at the paper. Let's do some estimation. So I'm going to give us two 3-digit numbers. Let's say 397 plus 211. Let's say I'm talking to a friend and I say, "Hey, I have 397 pencils. You have 211 pencils. About how much do we have? Do we have more than 600 pencils?" We don't need to know exactly how many, so we're going to estimate. I want to round these to the nearest 100 because my question was, do we have more than 600 pencils? So first, I'm going to take 397, I have a 3 in the hundreds place, and I go right before it to the tens place. There's a 9 in the tens place. Here we're going to remember our saying, 5 or more raise the score, 4 or less let it rest. 9 is higher than 5, so we are going to round up. The next highest 100 from 397 is 400. So we would round 397 to 400. I go down to 211, and there's a 2 in our hundreds place, and next to it we have a 1. 4 or less, let it rest. 1 is less than 4, so we are going to let it rest at 200. Now, this confuses a lot of people here because when we raise the score, we go up to the next 100. But when we round down, we're not completely going down to the next hundreds place. 211 is not closer to 100, it's closest to 200. And excuse my sloppy writing, I have a phone right in my face and it's kind of hard to see the paper. But then we just add. 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. 4 plus 2 is 6. We have about 600 pencils. Now, if I wanted to check to see if my estimation is correct or if it's accurate, we can just add up like normal. 7 plus 1 is 8. 9 plus 1 is 10. Put my 0 down below, carry my 1. 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. We're only 8 away. Do you think that's an accurate estimation? Yes, Mr. Hardy. Yes, it's an accurate estimation. Yes, it is. You're so great at math. Oh, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Now let's do a subtraction problem. Act like you don't see that. I totally did not put the wrong sign here. Okay, now let's do the exact same numbers, but we are going to subtract them this time. We're going to do it a little differently too. Instead of estimating and rounding to the nearest 100, I want to be a little closer. I want to be slightly more accurate, and to do that, we round to the nearest 10. It's the same process, you just look at a different place value. So 397 We have a 9 in the tens place. Go next door, and there's a 7. 5 or more, raise the score. 7 is higher than 5, so we round up to the nearest 10. But the nearest 10 is the nearest 100, because after 90, you go to 100. So rounding to the nearest 10 on 397 would still get us to 400. Look at 211. We have a 1 in the tens place and a 1 in the ones place. 4 or less, let it rest. Now, think about this for a second. Are we going to let this rest at 200 or let it rest at 210? That's right. I know you all just said it. You said 210. I'm sitting in my kitchen right now and I just heard every single one of you yell this answer, even though you haven't even seen the problem yet. It's amazing. Okay, now we just subtract. 0 minus 0 is 0. 0 minus 1, can't do that. I go next door, borrow from the 4. The 4 becomes a 3. And the 0 that we are working with, you add 10 to it. 10 plus 0 is 10. 10 minus 1 is 9. 3 minus 2 is 1. So a problem that would work with subtracting here is if I was saying, well, how many more pencils do I have than you have? After this estimation, I can say I have about 190 more pencils. Let's see if our estimation is accurate. 7 minus 1 is 6. Ignore that. I'm using a pen, and this is why we don't use pens, ladies and gentlemen. I made a mistake, and now I have to live with this mistake, and it's going to sit here to the end of time because I did not use a pencil like I'm supposed to. 7 minus 1 is 6, 9 minus 1 is 8, and 3 minus 2 is 1. We are 4 away from our estimation. I would say that's pretty good if you ask me. Okay, here's what I want you to do now. You are going to go back to Google Classroom. You are going to see an Edulastic assignment called Estimation Practice. There are 5 questions that I would like you to work on. Make sure that when you are finished and you're on the submit screen, that you go down to the bottom and fully submit your assignment so as teachers can see it. Have a great day and keep up the good work.